Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 109-108 victory against the Brooklyn Nets. Riker, this one was wild. Obviously, we came out and we slapped the Brooklyn Nets in the previous outing, and then tonight, Brooklyn came back with a vengeance, came back with a Goran Dragic in his return to the Raptors Stadium, and the fans also had a little bit of a return, coming back in. Got to boo Goran Dragic, get it going, as you probably expected given all the shenanigans that went on with Dragic leaving, coming back, in his opinion, the Raptors. But this ended up being a really fun game. A fun enough game to get the balloons going. How we feeling after this W versus the Brooklyn Nets, right?
We're going to get into all the fun side of this, the positives, the takeaways. I do want to preface before people say that we're hype training this game against a weaker Brooklyn Nets or a depleted Brooklyn Nets team, that yes, if Kevin Durant was the guy that we were going blow for blow in the fourth quarter with, could have been a different outcome, maybe. If instead we were going sort of trading shots with LaMarcus Aldridge at the high post and at the very end of the game, Seth Curry, neither of whom I would say are at the same caliber as Kevin Durant. That said, we did a great job in coming back, beating a press that kind of held the Raptors back last game, and then us being a little bit depleted as well with no OG, no Fred again, Pascal Siakam fouling out, Scottie Barnes stepping up huge, Thad Young hitting corner threes. It was a great game. It was icy, Ben.
Yeah, no, this game was exciting to the final moments, and there's a lot of stuff to break down, but Riker, I think we got to get these drum rolls going early. Get that drum roll rocking, because he's the TSN or Sportsnet Performer of the Game, and he's also winning the Scottie Barnes Award. As everyone knows, the criteria is fluid, and tonight it's going to just the most well-rounded, best player on the court. I'm giving it to him. I'm giving this shout out there. Scottie Barnes, 18 points. 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 gorgeous assists. No-look passes, things happening in the lane, some great defensive steal, a block, 8 of 13 from the field, 41 minutes. He has really just bursted onto the scene with OG Anunoby going out. It's translating into W's in the previous 2 games. This is the rookie of the year level Scottie Barnes. He's, Nick Nurse isn't drawing up many plays for him, but he's getting the ball a little bit more. It's getting in his hands, and he just creates gold when it's in his hands.
Well, it's great because they're looking to him down the stretch to be kind of the primary ball handler at times, which is pretty cool. He came up with the clutch block to save the game or keep the Brooklyn Nets at bay, which is pretty neat. And like you said, you are a fan of crazy dimes and kind of the no-look passes, and he's impressing you out there doing the same. So this is the well-rounded machine that was really at the top of the ROTY ladder. So hopefully he can get back in the mix before the season closes.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. If he keeps putting up numbers like this, Mobley, Cade, Franz, get out of here. Get out of here. It's Scottie Barnes Award to win. So love seeing him doing all that stuff. And I thought defensively as well, he got in front of some guys against some tougher matchups, some veterans he was forced upon to. So it was a huge W. But Riker, you called him the Raptors GOAT. He struggled since, but tonight he not the greatest first 3 quarters by any means, but in the fourth, Gary Trent Jr. put the team on his back. The Nets were in a weird-looking zone, and Gary was getting floaters, was hitting his classic little step-backs. A clutch free throw shooter. The Raptors have at times really just struggled at the free stripe, and it's lost us a few games earlier in the year. It was nice to see Gary Trent Jr. have that ice in his veins, knock those down, right? This is what we need. This is why Gary Trent Jr. is 3rd best in the league at ISO scoring, whether it be man-to-man, whether it be zone. Gary can get a bucket, and it's probably why he should be our closer, even when Fred VanVleet's back, even when OG's back, and even when Pascal's not fouled out.
You could even say it's why he might go down as one of the greatest Raptors of all time when it's all said and done, Ben. Like you said, not a great shooting performance tonight, but who cares? You can right your wrongs, because when the game is close, all it matters is the final couple of shots.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And man, Jay's bringing it up in the chat. Those 2 defensive 3-second violations. That technically.
Oh, listen, if you're the Nets, you are furious at the refs in this game, because I mean, there was definitely some calls going in the Raptors' favor. I think all of them deserving, but how often are you getting picked apart on back-to-back possessions for a three in the key? It's tough. It's tough.
Hey, all I'm saying, there's some bad calls on Pascal Siakam, some touchy-feely fouls on Seth Curry. They were treating him like Steph Curry, so it goes either
No,
way.
that was, listen,
No,
that was a valid call to call him out. Like,
ref
they were calling it
apologist.
all game. And they were calling on both sides. What I thought was funny was that Tony Brothers was like the Raptors savior in this one, who's infamously the number
That's
one
true.
Raptors hater of all the officials.
Hey, it's you take them where you can get them, especially against the Nets. And William Chan's in the chat. I believe we've got a little fantasy rivalry brewing, but he's talking about Dragic sweep, and we got to talk about some of the Goran Dragic stuff. I know some of it could be left to the segments, but Thaddeus Young tonight passed Goran Dragic on the all-time Raptors scoring list. Thaddeus Young and an old Goran Dragic there. What did you see from the instant rivalry between Thad and Thaddeus Young and Goran Dragic tonight? Because Thaddeus was balling in this one.
Yeah, well, he holds dear some of the segments that I'm going to be talking about later for sure. He's becoming instantly one of my favorites. It's nice. I don't know. I was skeptical of him, but I'm certainly cool if he's going to be that kind of veteran that we give late game minutes to, especially if he can play defense in the same way that Precious can and that Birch can, right? That he is definitely, you don't need to sit him. He's still pretty mobile. But I don't know. I thought it was quite funny when Goran Dragic was booed every time he touched the ball. He took it personally. He had a couple step backs, a couple fadeaways. I thought he played a nice enough game in the face of all the heat that he was taking from the fans in this one. I don't know. I wouldn't have booed him personally if I was there in person tonight, because I don't think he did really anything that terrible to the team, but I think it added a little bit extra fun and excitement to this one.
Well, Goran Dragic was a plus 15 for this game. So in 15 minutes, he was plus 15 on the court, 10 points, 2 assists. So he did have a little bit of a revenge game. And honestly, the Raptors, there were points in this game where we looked a little bit cursed, where we looked like shots weren't going down, especially Siakam. I thought Siakam had a much better game in this one. 18 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds, a steal, right? But missed a couple of those bunnies he usually hits, right? But
that's fine. And this is one of those games you'd say he had a bad game. And that's a fantastic stat line.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? So he's looking more like the regular Pascal Siakam, but I diverted from the point, getting a little Siakam tangent, but whenever the Raptors just boo a player tremendously, I don't think we've ever won one of those games. Whether it be Chris Bosh, Vince Carter, whoever it is, when we constantly boo, we usually lose. So the Raptors, fortunately, Goran Dragic was only on the court for 15 minutes, and the Raptors were able to get this W. So that's huge. But Scooby-Doo's still calling for the hoodie in the chats. But we got enough of that stuff talking later in this pod. But Ryker, one guy off that's usually off the bench, starting recently with Fred VanVleet out of the lineup. The Crimson Flynn has impressed dearly in his moments in the starting lineup. 15 points, 8 assists, knocking down some clutch shots in the fourth quarter. Like that mid-fourth quarter, he had a nice pull-up, a deep three. How are we feeling about Malachi Flynn? All these games where he's getting minutes, he's looking like a legit, at least backup point guard in the NBA.
Well, now it's definitely time to get Eric Flynn on the podcast, because there's some real juiciness now, some extra flavor to this story, because he actually is performing. So he was clearly biding his time, letting his anger turn into production on the court. And I'm here for it. If he wants to become the legit backup point guard and plays this kind of way, I'm okay to bite my tongue on saying there's no such thing, or there is such thing as garbage minutes, because he won't get playoff minutes. But if he wants them and he's going to play well, I'll concede that point.
Yep. No. Crimson Flynn, obviously out here balling. Definitely play better than Delano in this one. Delano, they run those zones against Delano. He really just needs a jump shot or a Giannis capability of using his size to drive to that rim. So I don't know, Malachi could be that guy for our squad. Kem Birch in this one, obviously the other starter for the Toronto Raptors we haven't talked about. Probably his best game since coming back from injury. 11 points, 5 rebounds. Precious struggled in this game. Boucher didn't get a lot of stuff going, even though he had 8 and 6. But Kem Birch did solid in his minutes. Are we seeing Kem slowly come back to the form that we saw him playing at last season and earned him that big contract this offseason? Or previous offseason?
I didn't really notice him tonight, Ben. I was doing other things, tuned in the fourth, and he didn't play then. So I guess a lot of his time came at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, so, I don't know. He hitting those shots and those floaters. Doing more Kem Birchie stuff. So that's what you like to see. But, Riker, talked about the players. The Raptors, they had a clutch W. There's a lot of segments in this game, so I think we just swing it straight into those segments. And tonight, the spicy play of the day. Our guy, Scottie Barnes, just making some clutch plays down the stretch. Gary Trent Jr. hit the clutch baskets, right? The star boy hitting the clutch baskets. Got to get the star boy animation when we bring him up. But the no-look pass from Scottie Barnes to Thaddeus Young, right? The Giga Chad, Thad, whatever you want to call him. No-look pass. Threw down a yam. That was a clutch play, and also had a nasty block over Seth Curry, who had himself a solid game in this one, was hitting some clutch shots against the Nets. Got to give a couple of those spicy plays to Scottie. You have any? I feel like you had a couple more in mind.
No, you'd be doing a disservice not giving it to those two plays, Ben. Those are the ones. Keep her going.
Let's because not all plays can be the spicy play of the day. Some just make you say, "Oh, geez." And tonight, the OG's play of the day. There's a few. You got a couple for these, or?
Yeah, first quarter, second quarters. I think it might have been the first. Malachi Flynn had LaMarcus Aldridge in the spin cycle, the washing machine, stumbling, right, tripping. It was a real nice another Hezzy fake. I think he's now 2 for 2 for Hezzy fakes and just stealing souls and stealing ankles. I also liked Thad Young shooting a 3 in the corner and just really holding it. He did it in such a way, willing the basketball into the rim, that he had Andre Drummond, who was obviously out in this game, sitting on the bench, laughing. I guess he was just watching him right there on the sideline. Those are my two, Ben. What do you have?
Yeah, OGs. Yeah, the Marcus Aldridge just hitting some wild shots down the stretch of this game, hoisting up those middies, looking like prime LaMarcus. It's unfortunate. It's crazy to think that this Brooklyn Nets team, we joked about in the previous pod, but the Drummond, KD, Kyrie, and Simmons weren't on the court, but you take away those 4 former All-Stars, and they still got, I think Dragic was once an All-Star. They got Blake Griffin out there on the lineup, who was once an All-Star. LaMarcus Aldridge, who was once an All-Star, and James Johnson, who could have been an all-star dunk contester, who had a nasty dunk at the end of this one, which made me say, oh, geez. And he hit a 3, too, which made it seem like a 1-point game, like it was a buzzer beater. But the Raptors were up by 4, and James Johnson hoisted up a 3. Get that stuff going. And we got nicknames popping out in the chat. Stuff balling out. But Riker, before we go off the rails, before we get crazy, the one, the only, the infamous, the Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the night. Do you have anyone in particular you want to ring some golden kazoos to?
No, I haven't thought about it enough, Ben. Who are you thinking?
Oh no, we gave him a bunch of praise. He's been playing well, but the precious propaganda was struggling tonight. Obviously, he cooked up those all-stars, but 4 points. He's played some solid defense, got 7 rebounds, but wasn't playing at the level he was playing previously. Not necessarily a golden kazoo, but just wanted to address some precious struggles. Siakam was solid. Delano Banton didn't look great in his own minutes, but I guess it's just got to go to Goran Dragic, because Mans was getting booed, even though he played well, even though he doesn't seem like he did anything that malevolent to the Toronto Raptors. Just out of principle, you got to boo him if he's disrespecting the team. His higher aspirations are going to a team that's getting swept, at least in his first 2 games against his former squad.
Fair enough, Ben. And you know what? I think it is time to get off the rails, Ben. Play that alarm.
Woo, 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 woo. Beep, 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 beep. Woo, woo, woo. Beep, 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 beep. That's right. The final alarm has sounded. It has sounded, and as is tradition, folks. Get a little like spike going. Got a little like spike. We got 266 people in here. The chats are picking back up. The Raptors getting some W's. 264 people in here. Only 43 likes. What's happening, folks? Let's get those numbers juiced. Let's get that to 100. But Ryker, a little 2-game win streak.
Yeah.
This one was a little bit sketchy at times, but definitely at least a W. And I had some question marks because even in the previous game, you can't expect Scottie Barnes to go off for 30 points, 28 points on any given night. Can't expect Precious Achiuwa to be a 20 bomber, even though hopefully he gets that back. But it's nice to see the main players get their games back rolling, right? In this game, Pascal and Gary Trent Jr.
That it is, and I'm just pulling up the results of tonight's matchups, and Warriors lost against the Timberwolves, surprising. Oh, and the Celtics beat the Hawks. You'd hope for the other way around. So we're still a game and a half back on Boston.
Yep.
We need to win basically 3 in a row just to tie them in record if they didn't play and we played 3 consecutively. But we're close. We're on their heels. And who's finally starting to slip in the rankings is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So things are looking bright. Don't know who we play next. But, the Raptors, hopefully they keep getting a couple of wins here now and build on this momentum.
Yeah. Well, Ryker, you and I have been saying, even though I thought the Cavs had a chance of making the playoffs at the start of the year, clearly I underestimated them, but we've both held firm that the Cavs are the team we both think we could definitely catch. We also think we can catch the Boston Celtics as well because, they've been neck and neck with us this entire year. But the Cavs, I just feel like they're due their younger team to take some losses. So if we can get a little run going, a little win streak, they're a team that we could probably catch. But
yeah, I'd love to be 4 and 5 in the playoffs and just play them first round. That's probably the easiest matchup, believe it or not, right? And maybe we are underestimating them, but I think they're well overperforming, especially with Mobley, Jared Allen, younger guys, right? Guys that haven't got too much experience. But anyways, it's not a Cavaliers digest, so I digress.
Yeah, Turtle T saying hope all you guys doing well. Doing well, Ryker. Doing well with the Raptors W. Like the streams or no Scooby snacks. Gotta get that rockin'. Bueno Kitty's dropping in the like section for Malachi playing with the same fierce game. Love to see it, but Phil B saying Banton isn't good. People finally see. You agree with that take?
Banton isn't good? Banton is good.
Yeah, Banton's a beast. Phil B. What's happening? But Kenneth Lau's asking, what happened to the buyout market? Center ? Well, we did pick up our 6'10 guy in the buyout market in DJ Wilson, who unfortunately was out with injury tonight. Think he can get run, Ryker? I don't know if we've properly dove into him getting picked up.
Every time you try to dive into it, I say I'm not interested in DJ Wilson, but he did have a nice game in the closing minutes of the last game. I did notice that he kind of stepped awkwardly on his knee. I thought he was going to go out immediately, but obviously it lingered and they decided to rest him. Never a good sign for a guy trying to play his way out of a 10 game into a full contract for the remainder of the season. So sucks for him. Definitely.
Yeah, sucks for these guys that get picked up and then they get hurt or they get the health and safety or whatever. Like Nick Stauskas, we picked him up and then immediately got thrown into protocols. Apparently he had 53 points or 57 points or something in the G League recently. So maybe
for
we
the
call
905?
back. I don't know if he's on the 905, but on some G League team. So that's what's happening. Yeah, Banton's good. People are Jaylen Brown injured. Is that true news or fake news?
Jaylen Brown
injured. That's a
Celtics.
I like Jaylen Brown, even though I'm rooting against the Celtics. I'd be unfortunate if he's hurt, but yeah, Flynn deserved more minutes. Tony Tran, he deserves it. You gotta give him an opportunity. He's a shooter, so he's gonna sway more people the more minutes he gets. But it's nice to see the ball shared around. And Dan T, I agree. The Raptors need to have a guy that can just go out there and facilitate, especially with Fred VanVleet injured. Malachi's more of a pass-first point guard, and you see it. You see it happening when the ball's swinging, and the Raptors have an ugly offense at times. So Scooby-Doo saying he's plays on the Nuggets G League team, so it makes sense. They're
I'm trying to find our record right now.
905 or
they don't have the cleanest homepage. Say that
Raptors
much.
or
yeah, the 905.
Well, the old Raptors 905. True news. I'm on fantasy. Ooh, William Chen, one of your guys are going down. Okay, looks like it's true news. True news. That's Fortunate. Hopefully he's not proper injured, but
Standings. Here we go.
yeah, you got the standings going. But Riker, there's a nickname getting thrown around with our obviously we have the chattiest young segment, the Giga Chad. Old Goran Dragic there. But people, Bueno Kitty's saying Daddiest Young. You like Chattiest Young or Daddiest Young?
Call me what you want. Wait. You can call me names if you call me up. Is that what it is? You can call me names. As long as you call me up. Call me Chad. Call me Dad. Whatever you want.
You freestyle slam poetry on this.
Call
on this
me
pod.
NBA champion 2022. Let's go. All right.
Yeah.
It won't load. The Raptors 905. Presumably they're doing all right.
Yeah, apparently they're
E-League
good. Apparently they're
standings. Maybe I just search it straight up.
You're using up the Wi-Fi, but we got to do a
15-6.
15-6.
There you go. 15-6. And Isaac Bonga had a 20 rebound game recently. Good for him.
Okay. Isaac Bonga out here balling. Apparently David Johnson's been playing well in the G League as well. Another guy.
Yeah.
Scooby Doo is saying he had a game winner. That's correct. Bueno Kitty, call Riker Daddy.
Let's shut that down real quick. But Ben,
call Riker Milky, as they say.
Ben, we have another video to make this evening. One involving reactions as well, but
That's true.
stay tuned for that.
Riker's
if you want to see.
You're channeling your inner Eminem, Riker. Rapping.
Why?
Spitting some slam poetry. Some I don't know what to call it, but Banton slow. The chat's going wild. You know, this pod, you and I are in a state of mellowness with the Raptors getting a W. No stress. We're beating the team that's right on our heels in the Brooklyn Nets, getting some big W's. Riker, you think we're gonna over under the 6th seed for the Toronto Raptors as the year pans out?
Am I on the screen?
Oh yeah, you're on the screen. You gotta.
Oh yeah.
You gotta sound
Over,
off.
baby. Over. Over.
Get the
4th seed.
Get that over. But folks, you guys are the best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, all of that cool stuff. Check out the channel memberships. Lots of cool stuff happening. we gotta get this pod while and before we get too many Riker being called Milky Daddy a bit too many times.
Oh, yeah.
Danny's in the chat saying I take back what I said about Thad Young. Fusion Basketball's out here saying Thad Young is the GOAT. One more Chattiest Young segment going. Let us know if you want any more fire segments popping. Riker, have I stalled long enough to call for the last words?
Oh, you have, Ben. Let me drop a
Riker,
nugget on you. You're talking slam poetry, mysterious love, uncertain treasure. Hast thou more pain or pleasure? Endless torments dwell above thee, yet who would live and live without thee? Cheers.
We got Riker. We got a quick super chat from Fusion Basketball. Ben and Riker are the best. We're back in here. Shout out to Danny. It's the Raptors Digest post credit scene. Shout out Danny. Appreciate you. Cheers.